hand, and that should be recording. Great, welcome. I figured we would, let me just share my screen so you can see what I'm seeing. Here we go. And Amanda, if you don't mind, you can see participants. If you see anybody waiting, just let me know so I can accept them in, because I'm gonna move over to my screen now. All right, so I figured today we would, can you guys see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go to present mode in just a moment, but okay, so I figured today we would quickly go over an overview of what distance learning looks like, then do any Q&A, or if people need to jump off at any time, no problem, no judgment at all. I know you're super busy. So you can just jump off and go visit classes, or if you need to go do your own work, totally understand. So I know Amanda sent you this document that shows some of the learning that's taking place today. That, as I was saying earlier, there were so many teachers that were excited to have you come visit. We're still getting used to this. Really, you know, Sue put it best that like we have created a brand new school. And so we're treating these first few weeks like the first weeks of school, when teachers have to go back and reinstate those norms, teach the kids the appropriate behavior in chat rooms and things like that. So we ask that when you do go visit classrooms, you mute your microphone and turn off your video. Just because there's been a lot of rumors of Zoom bombing, and we don't want any kids to think that someone else, an adult that maybe they don't know, has accidentally or intentionally joined their meeting for other purposes. So we decided not to have lower school and junior school be visited at this time. Simply because we're finding those kids are so distractible, and we have really short amount of time with those kids in face-to-face settings. So when we were concerned that if other people joined in, the kids would get distracted and we would lose that valuable time with those kids. So for right now, while we're building those norms, we're not gonna have visitors in the junior school and lower school. But we do have a lot of recordings of previous meetings. So I'll share that with you after this meeting, if any of you want to go in and see some of the video recordings of what that looks like in the junior school and lower school. So here's this list. And then I'm going to go over, Melissa and I have been working on this series. We're calling it the Distance Learning Series, and we have a lot of short videos. They're going to be sent out. 3 are ready to go right now, so we'll share that with you after this meeting. And then we have a few others. I think we're going to end up between 12 and 15 by the end of this. And we're kind of rolling them out as we are ready and as we have new things to share. So the first one is just an introduction, and then we move to a philosophy, and then we have some information about the platform and the components of distance learning, and then distance learning in action. That one's we have so much stuff coming in, we're gonna build that over the weekend and have that ready early next week. And then we wanna do another video on assessment and what assessment is gonna look like in a distance learning setting in each of the divisions. So that's what we have on tap for right now. So this is the slide deck that we've used for these little videos we've done. And so I'm not gonna walk you through all like 162 slides. I'm just gonna pick a few favorites that I think might be helpful for you right now. Does that sound good to everybody? Just give it, okay, cool. So when we were building out our distance learning, we had these 4 values kept coming up in our leadership conversation. And then we wanted the quality lifelong learning to be an emphasis, keeping to that IB framework and IB philosophy in a distance learning setting. We wanted to ensure flexibility. We know that families are experiencing different situations right now. Some families have members that are essential workers. Some families have a range of children in different ages. Everyone's just experiencing this differently. And so we wanted to allow the distance learning to have flexibility so that any family is able to access the learning and just ensure that equity piece. Sustainability, we don't know how long this is going to go on. So we wanted to ensure that we weren't burning teachers out right away or burning families out right away with just a ton of work that wasn't sustainable. And then relationships, knowing that relationships are the core of Le Jardin Academy, we wanted to add as many components as we could to continue to build those relationships across adults and students during this time. So we've talked a lot about approaches to learning being really the core piece that sets Le Jardin Academy apart from other schools, this emphasis on these transferable skills. And in doing that, we knew that in order, for students to be communicating actively and managing their own time, thinking critically and collaborating, we didn't want kids just sitting in front of a screen all day. So here are some of our students who are, I'm going to move into present mode here real quick. Here are some of our students who are doing the work that teachers are assigning. It's self-paced. Some kids need a much longer amount of time. Some students, not so much. And so we wanted some flexibility there in terms of how long students are working. And then we also just didn't want kids like looking at screens all day long. So we developed this hybrid model to show that we at Le Jardin believe in this balance, this blend of synchronous and asynchronous learning. So that means that we have some pieces that are fixed, some schedule pieces that are fixed, like face-to-face interactions with teachers or group meets or classroom lessons, along with asynchronous experiences that are personalized for students. They may be working independently or collaboratively. They might be inquiring into different experiences. This we're finding has actually been a real positive in terms of our real goals, that we want to allow students to be real great self-managers. We've talked about that in our last time I presented to you all, that self-management skills is one of our weaknesses of our students. And so we're actually seeing this as an opportunity for kids. They have to create their own schedule. They have to manage their own time. We're giving them some time periods in which some constraints there. There are certain meetings that we have to, that kids might need to get online and meet with their teachers. But that's very similar. It's mirroring an adult experience in which we know what work we have to get done during the day, but then we also have set meetings that maybe are set by other people. So we're seeing kids reflecting on these self-management skills and really teachers supporting the kids in designing their own schedules. So here's some pictures of these kids flexibly working throughout the day. Again, we wanted to ensure that flexibility, and then also sustainability, not burning our teachers out. They are our most valuable resource, and they're working around the clock to provide quality education to our kids right now. So that's one of our focuses right now, is how to support the teachers in balancing their time. Again, these relationships being really important. This is Annie Yoshida on a little group chat. I think it's a snack chat. She's got snack in front of her. And so she's meeting with the kids here. So I'm just going to orient you to the distance learning platform. Oh, let me go over here, sorry. And some of you as parents are, have seen all of this. And I'm not going to go too deep into it because I know you guys can just go and navigate this website yourselves. But here on the main page, this is the go-to hub. So this is the full distance learning platform. And so you'll see Earl's blogs here. Melissa Handy, her tech team has just been amazing. They've added this Let's Chat button. So at any time you can just click on it and somebody will answer your questions. We have trained people as well as the tech team answering those live chats. We have our timeline. As you can see here, we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're following the JARD schedule. And then Fridays are flex days. That doesn't mean that there's no school on Fridays. It means that Friday is an opportunity for students to catch up on work, to work in their group projects. They have a bunch of group projects they're working on. Students who are working on personal projects, that's time for them, and the DP students who have IAs and other projects, this is a flex time for them to work on those things, as well as their required services action and CAS, we call it, in the DP. And then we have a lot of other enrichment opportunities and other face-to-face electives that happen on that Friday. This is an opportunity for teachers to work and plan with their, so there's no face-to-face lessons, although we're finding that a lot of teachers are offering face-to-face components because they want to. So the flex day is really flexible. We have a philosophy, which we have an entire video on, so I won't go into that page. We have this parents page we ran, and I know several of you were in this event last week, a Screenagers Next Chapter event. Melissa did an awesome job of getting experts to support parents in that event. And we'll be posting additional events here. We have some podcasts that are great listens for parents of children in the earlier years, as well as the roles and responsibilities for the parents. And then each page here has we have divisional pages for each of the divisions. They look a little different because of the age range of the kids. In the lower school and junior school, parents, the kids need a little bit more parent support. So we wanted to have an interface that was more parent friendly for the junior school and lower school. And so me as a JK parent, I simply click on this and I can see my week's lessons and day by day. So they're broken out each day. So I can, this morning, clearly I'm not doing this right now. I'm not teaching my kids right now. Don't tell Summer and Leslie. But I can just click here and find out exactly what my kids are supposed to be doing right now at this moment. Instead, they are watching a television show, I believe. At the bottom of this main page, let me just go back. At the bottom of this main page, we have our principals who are doing read-alouds and challenges, student council updates. Christina Ho with the Wild Kids is doing a Wild Kids Outdoor Adventures. We have Live from the Paddock. You can go visit the animals on a live feed and you can join in and see. There's some challenges. Wade the Duck came home with me, so we're putting some Wade the Duck challenges as well as some live events. And then all these extras, everything from Soccer Academy training videos to Hawaiian cultural, our Hawaiian cultural expert is putting on videos of things you can do at home. And those are a combination of live and recorded. Let's go back to here. Our counselors have really stepped it up too. They each have these pages that support signing up for an appointment if students are struggling, as well as mindfulness experiences at home. So middle and high school look really similar. Middle school and high school, the students, we didn't want to change what the kids were already doing, and the kids were already getting their learning experiences via Google Classroom. So this page is really informational for the parents But the kids are, for the most part, getting all of their information using the same interface they have all year long, using Google Classroom. And in the high school, let me go back here. I want to show you a unique page that we've added to the high school. This is kind of the only page that kids are really accessing here. Let me go right through here. So you see Alex has been posting these videos that are really great, really clearing up myths, I think, that, you know, the Coconut Wireless goes around, and he's done a really great job of clearing up communication. But we have this Flex page here. This page is really geared to engaging students to connect with one another. It's really geared to build relationships. We have like videos that provoke thinking and engagement, and on all of these posts, they're comment blogs. So I have a slide I'll show you in a moment of the kids that are writing these just really deep and fabulous comments about some of the content that's posted in here. So kids are engaging, flex your mind, flex your impact. Kids are making masks and helping out and showing their action, which is what IB is all about, is taking action. And so this is really a way for them to do that. Okay, so I want to go over to slide 30. And just show you the main components. So the components in the PYP, pre-K to 5, are recorded lessons. We have live learning. Sometimes those are one-on-one. Sometimes they're small group. We're finding that in the early years, the small group, 2 to 3 kids, is ideal. Independent learning, and then optional enrichment. You may have seen in the Instagram feeds the pre-K teachers have created these learning kits and have been delivering them to each student's home, which is just above and beyond. It took them 5 hours to drive around the island and deliver all of these learning kits to the students. We kept the morning message. This is a part of the school day for the junior school and lower school day kids that just instills this consistency that we find so important for the kids. And so those are recorded videos and are posted each morning. First grade, as well as some of the other grades, are recording specific lessons for each small group of 3 to 4 students for their phonics or their reading or their writing. Each class, the kids need different things. So this is just an example of how this teachers are differentiating for the kids. If it's not in a live lesson, they're recording these really specific lessons for each group, a small group of students. So here's a little video of Kate Barris, and we'll show that in the video we'll share with you. I don't want to take too much of your time. I'll share this slide deck with you too, so you can look through. Our specialists are also featuring these recorded lessons and some live learning as well. This is 4th grade. I think they've done just such a great job of clearly communicating what they're doing. You can see there's morning messages right here. There's read alouds, and then the kids go in and sign up for a time to meet with their teacher. Right now they're working on Hawaiian folklore as a way for culture, how cultures express their beliefs and values. The Econ 101, our like amazing 3rd grade unit, of course, is happening during this time. And so they're trying to find a way to do like a virtual marketplace. The teachers are really being creative in ways to make this all happen. And again, here's another example of live lessons where this is how, so first, this is 2nd grade. 2nd grade has been working on this math concept for a couple of weeks. They've now given the feedback to the teachers that they are ready to move on to the next stage. And so they're working independently on a task, and then they're coming in from 10 to 10:30 to work with their teacher for additional support. So we're finding really flexible ways to use time during the day so that kids are getting what they need, but it's not whole group, whole class all together at the same exact time, which is really best practice. Here are these lunch buddies. Pre-K, JK are doing a lot of these lunch buddies one-on-one, and then from 5th grade, one-on-one meetings as well. This is a grandfather who comes into pre-K every afternoon to read aloud, and to keep that consistency, he's continued to do that. So he's offering these live read alouds to the kids to sign in and listen. Over in the middle and high school, our components look very much the same. They're live meetings, recorded lessons, assigned learning tasks, and then continuous feedback through ManageBack, Google Classroom, Google Docs, and live platforms. Our teachers are putting together these really amazing lessons. Again, I'll share this with you so you can click on some of them. Andrea Tam and Amy Manzo putting on these really cool lessons on how to draw and how to do the artwork at home. And then this is an example of after they've done the independent work, the students are getting on these live chats and getting peer feedback from one another in the group chat. And so they're holding up their portraits, and they've been paired up to get feedback. I'm not going to go through all of these. Design, again, we're using Google Classroom. So this is the interface that every class has their own Google Classroom site. And every day the teachers are putting up their assignments or their links to their Google Class meetings. This is a science class. Again, we're trying to get kids off screens as much as possible. So the teachers are doing a great job of having kids go outside, do these science experiments, record them, and then post them for the class to see. And it's great when you have a twin sibling to help you out so you can collaborate. Our French classes in the IB across the board are still continuing to work on their oral fluency. We wanted to make sure that that was happening. And so this has been a great way for the kids to actually record their work, and then they can reflect. That was a component that wasn't necessarily part of the physical classroom. So now they can hear themselves, and they can give them, self-reflect using their recordings. So we're seeing some benefits of distance learning. So math, we're trying to, a lot of the math classes were already flipped classrooms where they send the content home, and then the kids come back for feedback, come to school for feedback and practice. So that's continued in the in this distance learning setting. But we're finding kids are needing to just like take a picture of their calculations and send it in. So some cool IDUs happening. Our DP classes are still just continuing to the end of the year. Our seniors are just coming to the end of their learning anyway, because that was supposed to end on May 1st. So they are getting ready to finalize any internal assessments that weren't uploaded. And I have video of here. I won't click it because it will stall my computer out. But the PE teachers are still challenging the kids to stay actively engaged, and then collecting video evidence that they're attaining their goals. Personal project, we decided to allow 9th graders to start early. So a lot of those kids are just diving into personal project in 9th grade right now, so they get an extra couple months to work on that. This is my advisory. You can see this group of kids this afternoon if you'd like. It was Crazy Hat Day, so we all came with a crazy hat. Just another way to build those relationships and support the kids. I think they really look forward to advisory twice a week to just get together and reconnect. I shared this flex page with you, but I just love Shaya's comment here. Something I am beginning to appreciate recently are the organizational skills I learned throughout my schooling. I believe that this unique situation allows us students to truly test out independent learning skills and prepare us for college. I am really thankful for how the school is handling this change, as there is little to no confusion about our daily routines so far. So we're seeing a bunch of comments like that coming in from the kids. My advisory class the other day just was like so appreciative for having the face-to-face components, because it was just a way for them to kind of get out of their house, get out of an outlet to get out of their situation for that amount of time. So our highlights are that, you know, through this experience, I think it's highlighted how special LJA is, how special our teachers are, and our families, and our students, you know, just adapting to this new situation. Our teachers are truly amazing. This has been a huge growth curve for all of them. But, you know, from my position, I'm actually loving this. You know, professional learning is supposed to, you know, it's supposed to be differentiated. It's supposed to be work embedded. It's supposed to be ongoing and applicable in the situation that they're in right now. And people are supposed to be getting active feedback on that new learning. And we don't often get that opportunity. We send people to workshops and then they come back and they might use that or not. And so this is like professional learning at its best. Kate Barris said it best when she was like, can we just have every professional learning day next year be like a party? Because we've learned more than we have in like 3 years of learning just in this like 2 weeks experience. We also see like a lot of best practices being highlighted. The need to differentiate. Lecturing doesn't work in this format, and it doesn't work in the face-to-face classroom either. So teachers are having to find better practices to enhance their teaching. Their use of time and their use of small groupings, that fluidity is a best practice in teaching in the face-to-face classroom, and we're seeing teachers adapting to use those strategies more in this distance learning setting. So I think that our school is going to be better for this. Our learning is going to be better for this at the end. At the same time, we have a lot of challenges. Teachers are feeling really overwhelmed, and we're just trying to find the best ways to support them right now, and even to a point, asking teachers to step it back a bit, because we don't want them to burn out. Parents, we're getting a lot of mixed feedback. They're in different situations. We have some parents that are stay-at-home moms that really want to be involved in their kids' learning and want more, and they are like using this opportunity to be a teacher. And then we have other parents that are working multiple jobs and just trying to stay afloat, and they want kids to just be looking at screens all day because they need to get their work done. And so, again, we're trying to offer core components along with a lot of additional experiences to try to meet everyone's needs. I think, in all honesty, the first week we took a lot of that feedback and then we overcorrected in different directions. And so now we're trying to just keep straight and steer a really steady course that's best practice and is really principled to what we believe is best learning in this situation. And then we're also just, having challenges with early childhood education, trying to meet the needs of those families and those kids, as distance learning is not designed for early childhood. And we're trying to, we're doing way more than all of the other other schools I know, and just talking to a lot of early childhood educators on island. This is not a situation that's unique to us, but we are, experiencing challenges in that early childhood area, as you're aware. Our next steps, later today, our task force is meeting about assessment. What will assessment and report cards and report card grading look like for the different divisions during distance learning? And we'll also be discussing accountability. What do we do when students aren't keeping up or aren't doing their work? That might be a case-by-case basis due to the family's unique situations. So that's kind of the big overview If those of you who need to go, I totally understand. Those of you who want to just jump off and join into some of those lessons, feel free to do so. And then I'm also just here for a Q&A.
Hi, Leah, Dean Spagnoli.
Hi, Dean.
Hi. One quick question. How'd you do all this? No, this is really amazing. And thank you for taking the time today to kind of walk us through this. As you know, I mean, a lot of us at the trustee level have been following along, and I know I speak for all of us where we are just in awe of what you and the faculty and the teachers have accomplished. So thank you for your efforts.
Yeah, thank you guys.
First and foremost.
Thanks for, yeah. And thanks for all of your support and cheerleading, because, you know, the teachers need that right now. They need a lot of positive reinforcement.
What else can we do? What are some ideas? How else can we support you and the teachers?
Oh, I don't know. You guys are creative. I think anything you can do to cheer them on. I think the email you sent recently, I think really went a long way. I'm hoping that, you know, Melissa and I are running these like support groups throughout the week. And yesterday with the early childhood group, it was the first time that nobody cried or got emotional. And I think that they are, even though it's really hard, I think that learning curve is beginning to flatten a bit, and they are finding strategies that are working for them. I think it's, you know, it takes 3 weeks to build any routine, right? And so I think for both families and for the teachers, I'm hoping that it will steady out in the next week or so, that things will feel a little bit easier. And we're just trying to make sure that teachers tend, as many of you know, to, as things get easier, they put more on their plate right away. And so the principals and I have done, I think, a pretty good job of being like, no, you're not allowed to add that, right? No, only one of you is going to make the video. We're not going to have 3 separate videos from each of you. We're just going to have one video. Choose one of you to make that video. Mm-hmm. So trying to be as efficient with time as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, make sure these teachers get some rest for themselves.
Yeah.
Here's I mean, you mentioned the drop-offs. Could we volunteer to do package drop-offs? But I guess the drop-offs are a special connection for the students and their teachers to connect.
Yeah, so I think
via the car window.
They were using that as an opportunity to connect with their kids, and I think for just like actual dissemination of those kits, we're going to have a loop pickup next time. But Jordan Dodson has this awesome idea of she's making all of these bulldogs, these like plywood bulldogs. And I don't know if you know, like on the mainland, they do these storks. When somebody has a baby, they put like a stork on your front yard. And so it's that kind of idea. And so we're going to stick these bulldogs in people's front yards. And then people can take a picture with their bulldog. And then that night, somebody sneakily moves it to another student's front yard. So if you want to help with with that, we think it could be really cool on Instagram to have all these
awesome
selfies with their bulldogs.
Yes, I'd love to be the bulldog secret
bulldog distributor. Yeah. Leah, one of the things that, you know, we hear are about different approaches to distance learning. What are the things you're hearing from other schools, and you know, kind of how would you differentiate how we're approaching this, not only what we're doing, but like how we're doing it, the community engagement, the support, I mean, the kinds of things you see that are happening. I think it would be great to kind of put what we're doing in a slightly larger context based on kind of what you have observed.
Yeah, so just in the like learning platform component piece, I won't name specific schools, but you know, one school has kids that are looking at screens all day, right? They go to class and they look at screens, and they're really keeping that like organizational structure of school. The organizational structure of school that like bells ring and kids move from place to place, is not in line with our IB philosophy. The IB philosophy is that we want to build kids that are self-managing their own time. Kids aren't self-managing their own time when a bell rings and they move to the next thing when a school tells them to. So I think we have stuck with our philosophy in that we are really flexible with our time. A different school has like a quota that like the first 20 minutes have to be a teacher lecture and then the kids go and do their work. Well, that doesn't work in our setting. We have kids collaborating first and then they need to check in with the teacher and then they need to go back. We want to differentiate the way we're using time and the way we're using these tech tools to what is the best experience for students to understand that concept or practice that skill or grasp that piece of knowledge. So we've remained really flexible, which I think aligns really well with our IB philosophy and is a little bit different from what the other schools are doing. Another school is pretty in line with us. I think in terms of the extras, the bells and like whistles in terms of this relationship building, I don't know, Courtney, you have your eyes more on the other schools than I do. Like, I don't know if we're seeing that as much. Like the fact that that Kyle Nakayama just drove pizza to all of the kids because the kindergarteners love pizza day. And so he drove a slice of pizza to every kindergartner. I think it took him like 4 hours or something to drive all of this pizza to these kids. That one of our kindergarten teacher's assistants made these little, like, are they bunnies, Courtney? What were they? They were like little bunny things, and had the kids come by and pick them up. And that we have families that are doing parades by teachers' houses. Like, I'm just not seeing those kinds of things at other schools. And I think that really highlights this special thing we have going here.
Our narrative is really coming up. It's bubbling up from within our community. And it doesn't take much, honestly, to sort of help curate that and polish it. What we're seeing in the marketing and social media of some of our other schools on island is still a very crafted and institutional series of messages. At this time, what we're doing is completely unique.
Wow, and that takes time, and that just doesn't happen overnight. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think another distinctive feature, if I could, that I don't know any other school that's seeking the feedback the way that our principals and staff are, from students, from staff, and from families. They're dropping surveys, they're cold calling random families each week. Counselors are checking in with, and administrators are checking in with staff, again, on a scheduled basis, so that we make sure that we're improving, we're making sure that people are in a good place. So I think that's a real positive thing that'll help us continue to grow and learn without burning people out. And so I think that's another noteworthy feature of the program.
Leah?
Yeah. Who's that, Roger?
I think this is a fantastic thing that you've been presenting. What area or areas and feedback that you've been getting are areas that you're now working on to try to improve?
Yeah, the first week we had a lot of feedback that that parents wanted more live interaction with the kids. So what we did is we ended up having the teachers really step it up in week 2 with those live interactions, as well as teachers' assistants and specialists. Now we're finding that we're hosting all kinds of live events that parents sign up for, but we're not seeing parents sign up for it. So as mentioned, they all signed up right away, and now I hosted an event late last week, and I think 19 I think signed up, and 8 actually showed up, or 12 actually showed up. So we're finding now that parents aren't actually signing up. It's just too much additional stress for them. But we're going to continue to offer them, because we do want those kids who do want that face-to-face interaction with their teachers there. And that's primarily in the early years. We're seeing middle and high we had some teachers that were doing a lot of face-to-face and some teachers that weren't doing any at all. And now we're seeing that increase, so it's more consistent across the teachers. Still a little bit of work to be done there in terms of that consistency. Again, we didn't want to like create a quota like some of the other schools did, that you have to be like face-to-face for this amount of time, because like that lesson with the science experiment, I don't want Katie Brown sitting on there and lecturing to the kids about what a watershed is. I want them going out there and building a watershed in the backyard. So, so we want to be flexible with how teachers are using that time.
Great, thank you.
Leah, Dean here, and someone said the word marketing. I don't know who said it, but I do understand the narrative that maybe it's not the proper time to an extent to be kind of marketing or showing off everything that we've created here. But I don't know. I mean, I feel that I know everyone kind of shares in this also, right? That we've done something extraordinary here. I do think our students are benefiting greatly from all that you and Melissa and your team have put together. And I'm wondering if you can't put together maybe a shortened version of the presentation that you just did. Maybe it's already out there on the Lejeune website. I'm not sure, but I think this. I love the idea of this story permeating throughout the islands across Oahu. Just kind of give a heads up to all these parents as to what we've created here, and just it's a great illustration of who we are, right, as a community. And I'm so proud of it. I think we should be somehow promoting it in a gentle way, if any of that makes sense. And Courtney, I know you're kind of on this. Any thoughts?
Well, so Melissa and I started creating these videos. Really, we started to create it for you, and then it kind of took a life of its own. And now it's Earl had the idea of making them small tutorials that we could post on the website. And then Melissa and I were like, well, maybe we could use this as a way to very subtly show the other things we do, the IB, the way we teach and the way we approach learning. So, so we've recorded all of them. Melissa is a Wonder Woman. I just saw she was up at like 1 a.m. still splicing videos together, because she was like, no, we can't just record them. We have to have the audio recorded separately from the video. And then so she's splicing all of these together. And we have 3 done so far: an introduction, and then the distance learning platforms, and the philosophy. And then we have 2 that are going to be ready later today. They might be ready now. That are on the components, and so which are some of those slides I showed you. And then the next ones we're going to be working on over the weekend and early next week are action and agency, and that's really going to highlight what makes us special, I think. And then assessment, and assessment's going to be a separate one later next week. So yeah, we're going to use those. Courtney, I don't know what else. I know I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from people at other schools about how well we're going on Instagram and Facebook and social media, highlighting some of the things happening.
Yeah, Dean, so to answer your question a little bit, some of the soft sharing we've been doing is on social media. So we've been really trying to utilize Facebook and Instagram to kind of share some of these really sentimental stories, such as the parades and the letters to hospitals and things like that. What I'm working on right now, Nicole's helping me with this, is we want to create like a video gallery of some of these videos that we can add to our website.
Cool.
So that's in the works, and I think it'll be great once we have that compiled. But I certainly agree that more visibility the better, because I think we've been doing a really good job as far as like the touches with our families and things like that.
So one of the things I like to say is, obviously there's going to be a financial impact to every school out there, but I think what we are building is a new asset that we didn't have before as a school. We didn't need before as a school. So as we do everything that we're saying here, we're creating a new asset. Who knows what 2021, 2022 is going to be like? But this new asset may be something, as you're pulling the videos, the structure together, to kind of think ahead that this may be a new school model that we persist with in the future. No one knows. But if there are students that are not on the windward side, that have never heard of Les Jardins as far as they're on the Big Island or somewhere else, but we have a platform as a new asset that allows for distant learning. It may persist into the future as something that we offer. I don't know, but I think the quality of what's coming together is from a grassroots effort, as well as from expertise and lessons learned. You're really creating a new asset for the school that I do believe is going to separate us from community feel, from quality, and the right balance of screen time and not, to give us a new offering in the future.
Yeah, I think
I can agree more.
Yeah. Yeah. I know Alex Ramswig is talking with his faculty tomorrow about that. What happens if we're closed for points in the year next year? Is there a more flexible schedule or model that we can implement now that's better for kids, but also has that and also has that flexibility for the unknown next year?
Yeah.
Leah, you know that I'm a big fan of this, but I want to tell you that like the rollout of this, as a parent, you feel like it took us a couple of weeks to get used to it. We saw the distance learning website, but did we do a deep dive into it? It just took a while. I mean, I have a 5th grader who is a little bit more independent, but still needed the oversight on scheduling. So I really want to speak to the volume of support that I received and that my son received for it to reach to him where he was at. And there's options to go further. So there's never a time that we're not, creating my driveway looks like, it's been graffitied and everything. So it's just fascinating. I absolutely love how you kind of reinvent new things to engage the students every week. How are the teachers taking the feedback? How are they, what's the morale and you spoke to it, they're getting a little burnout and not to overdo it, but like Dean and we all want to support the staff and the teachers. What do you think that would look like? Is it letters? Is it food? Is it support? Is it being in the loop for them? Are they on campus at all one time and we can be on campus? What does that look like?
Food always goes a long way. You know that. Food always goes a long way. So do kind words. I think what's hard for the teachers is that they're getting really mixed feedback. And so I think if they get consistent feedback of one thing, they're like, okay, we'll change. Our teachers are really adaptable, but they're getting feedback that something's really positive, and then the next email from a parent is really negative about that very same specific thing. So, I know that the principals have been trying to deflect that and take that feedback in and just keep it from the teachers because we want them to steer a steady course. In terms of supporting them, a lot of them are not on campus and don't want to come on campus. Some people are coming to pick up Kyle's food on Fridays. And everyone is very good about keeping their distance and but picking that food up. So I saw a lot of teachers there on last Friday.
We are going to be sending out an email today from Earl. We're doing a pizza appreciation. So Kyle worked something out with Boston's and Aikahi. So we're giving out a free pizza to all of our faculty and staff. So I think that'll be a nice gesture.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And the title of that, Amanda, because Amanda now has the email for getting ready to send it, is Trustees for Teachers.
Cool. Awesome.
I think in talking to the principals, and this is piggybacking on Leah's observation that sometimes teachers are receiving mixed feedback. I think that primarily is at the earlier grades, much less so as you go up into the high school, where it seems that for whatever reasons, both students and teachers, families are feeling that it's the right approach. So it is primarily in the early elementary grades, I think, that it's more difficult, and parents have not only different expectations, but different schedules. So that will drive their preference for synchronous versus asynchronous. Parents have who are at home have different demands on their time, so they may or may not be able to mentor or guide their children as a teacher's aide might. And Leah's kind of a poster child for that parent, because she was sharing that when it first started out, she was on it and she was trying to follow the guides that the pre-K teachers put out there.
I was a really good homeschool teacher.
I'll let her speak for herself, but
Yeah.
she's in a different place now.
Yeah, I was a really good homeschool teacher for like one day, and then that first Monday, March 30th, I was like, woo, I am so good at this. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I have to work. I have to do my job. And so, yeah, it's what it is.
Yeah, so I think the teachers trying to adapt to all the different needs that our early childhood parents, families have, is probably the greatest challenge we have. And from what I've heard, Francois has been getting positive feedback from families about the discount that the board approved. So much mahalo to the board on that one.
Okay. So Leah and Ala, and I just Courtney, you know about this. So I sent out a note to the trustees. This is less than, I guess, 20 hours ago, and we're going to try to put together a hui of funds to, pay for I guess, a meal a week, right, every Friday for the teachers.
Wow.
And we're going to call it Trustees for Teachers.
Wow.
And so hopefully,
So awesome.
again, just another small way that we can support you guys. And so that's kind of a new thing that Earl just mentioned. Yeah.
That's so awesome. Thank you.
Two quick questions. So first, do the teachers and students know that they might have these strange faces popping on into their classes today?
Stranger danger.
Yeah. The teachers have volunteered to allow you into their classes. So they were all volunteer based. They had to give me the Google, link and or the Meets or Zoom password and link. I anticipate that they've told their kids that you may be dropping in and they should be their best selves. But I would, in the norms, I put in there, if you could mute yourself when you go in and turn your video off. They may call on you to say hi or whatever, but they may not also. As I said before we recorded, the kids struggle with focus in these distance learning settings because it's just a new situation, which is one of the reasons we chose not to have junior school and lower school at this time, because they're just getting those norms down and the routines down of what appropriate live virtual meetings should feel like. So that's why we just ask that you turn off your mic and your camera just so not to distract the kids.
Okay. My last comment, I guess, goes back to Ala and Courtney. So, I think the videos are great. I think the Facebook shares and the Instagram shares are awesome. I see them, I follow them. My concern, and I could be incorrect in assuming this, is that, these Facebook shares are so wonderful, but it kind of hits our parent universe, which is great. But I just want it to be like expanded beyond that, right? So I kind of wonder, and again, there's just me kind of thinking out loud, if we could put together a video that kind of shows off our campus and then kind of go into, while we're closed, we have this, this is what our distance learning program looks like, and have Leah kind of talk a little bit about it and kind of show some of the screenshots and have it on like the KHON news, or have it somewhere where we kind of like blast it to the island, where other parents at other schools can kind of get exposure to what we're doing. And I'll just leave it at that. I know I'm talking way outside my skis, but I'll share that because again, I guess it just comes down to how proud I am. And again, I think we've done something incredible for our students, and there might be parents interested in learning more. And I'll just leave it at that.
Well, I think, Dean, actually, I agree. There's a lot of, a lot of people are looking for feel-good stories. Those parades, the visual of that, to go out into the broader community. I mean, I saw the one with Chloe. I mean, that's so authentic and real, and how we connect. One of the things I've also been talking with Dean about is if we do provide meals for teachers, how do we leverage that as, LJA loves our teachers and we love our community, how we're engaging out into the community as a school, supporting the broader community in this time, whether it's supporting a local restaurant or support, it just feels like on these soft opportunities, we may be able to tell that story a little bit more, broadly. And I know we've been in kind of just dealing with what's right in front of us, but if we do have a little time, there could be some really nice opportunities.
Just to piggyback on that, I had a vendor who was going to help, employees just to show support from the mainland, offering to buy lunch for all the employees for one day. And I replied to say, thank you. We have a customer of our company that's struggling. Can you buy all the meals from that customer? Don't just go to, don't just buy it from Zippy's or Pizza Hut. We have a small little business. Exactly. They're struggling. And the vendor stepped up and said, absolutely. And I'll do it for all of our accounts in Hawaii from that same customer of yours. And I'm like, wow. So you're right. Trying to close that circle of helping friends and family in the community in different ways is a good idea.
Sorry to cut in right now, but we're an essential business and I have to go to the office today. We have a social distancing meeting at the office. So I do have to leave. It's awesome. It's great. I'm glad we're able to get on Zoom and actually see things. And, it was a great presentation, but I do have to leave. So bye, everybody.
Hi, Stephen.
Good to see you, Stephen.
Well, I don't want to take too much of your time, and I want you to be able to get into the classes. I think there's some other sessions starting in 1 minute at 9:25.
Thank you, Leah.
Thank you,
thank
guys.
you.
Thanks
Great
so
job.
much for all your support. It really is amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Leah.
Bye, everyone.